Hi, Samantha. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me. I always love talking to fellow horror nerds.
That I am. That I am. And speaking of horror nerds, your show has just come out.
Right. I run a horror themed stand-up comedy show called Horror Nerd. It's based out of the Hollywood Improv. We now also do it. I don't know if you're a true crime kind of gal at all, but have you seen The Mortician on HBO? You have. Okay. So I run Horror Nerd at the actual former Lamb Family Mortuary as well.
Wow,
We do that once a month and at the Hollywood Improv once a month.
that's incredible. That's the spooky place to be.
Oh, definitely. Our green room is literally where they used to do the embalming. And yeah, I know. And there's a casket on stage. It's not like it's a prop casket. Don't worry, there's nothing in it. And like the light, meaning like when like a red light comes on, mean telling the comic, hey, you have a minute left. It's above the door that says morgue, and it's just the most morbid thing. But it's now called Missing at the Mortuary. Allison and Noelle are these two amazing girls. They turned it into an escape room a couple years ago, and now we're running the live version of Horror Nerd there. But the hour special just dropped on Apple TV and Amazon and Google Play and YouTube, and we're really excited about it. I think it's been really well received, and we're really excited.
I watched it last night.
Thanks.
I really enjoyed it, and I don't think I've ever come across a comedian that does a lot of horror in their shows. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was great. It was funny.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I'm the only one that I know of who's crazy enough to make horror their entire personality as a stand-up comedian. But I love it. Like they say that, comedy is about passion. So you have to write about things you care about, things you believe in, experiences that you have in real life. And horror has literally shaped my entire life, even as I was a little kid. I talk about in the special, I talk about my parents split up when I was like 8, and my mom moved me across the street from the poltergeist house, and my dad let me watch it. And that kind of changed everything for me.
That I couldn't imagine looking out your bedroom window and
Yeah.
seeing that house.
Yeah, I just didn't know that I was walking past it, like carrying my little groceries from the market every day. I had no freaking idea. And then once I realized it, I was like, wait, what? Because I would say the two movies that I really, really loved with my dad the most were, well, he let me watch it and it kind of terrorized me for 6 years, but Poltergeist, we love watching together. And it's funny because I remember my dad telling me that the movie that scared him the most was Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And I just assumed that he meant he saw that when he was a little boy. And then later I did the math. I was like, bro, you were 36 years old. Like, that came out in 88. You should have been afraid of like alimony, not killer clowns, you know? Wild.
Right. That is wild. And it's, there's so few women that are
Yeah.
big into the horror genre to the point where they make it a career. So
Yeah.
it's always great to meet someone that has the same type of thinking I do.
Yeah, exactly. And I have to say, I was really excited when I saw, ooh, Kelly, ooh, it's a lady. 'Cause, I mean, we've been doing a lot of interviews, and the guys have been so sweet and super cool. You're actually the only woman that I've gotten to talk to.
I feel special.
Yeah, you are.
All right. And, you get so personal in your show.
I do.
And how do you do that without getting sad?
No one's ever asked me that, and I love that you asked me that. I do get sad, to tell you the truth. Sometimes it happens. Especially when we were filming the special itself, I was so amped up, and there were so many emotions, and there was pressure, and there was excitement, and there was gratitude, and there was more nerves, and all of this was happening. And I did have that thought, like telling the story. I mean, it's in the special. It's a true story of like the last thing that I said to my dad. I saw him in a funeral home and they brought him out of cold storage, and they left me. I'm 22. They leave me alone in a room with him, and literally I looked down at him, and his skin was ice blue and his hair was completely disheveled, and the last thing I actually said to my dad was, Dad, you look like Jack Nicholson from The Shining. And that was a true story, and I remember delivering that. I actually did kind of tear up for a moment because it was just that realization of that is a moment in my life, in my story, that got me here to this huge moment in my life. And it's tied in with horror. And my dad kind of looked a little bit like Jack Nicholson, maybe a little bit, especially as I got older. So it was just this crazy moment. And I do get sad, and I think that's okay. We took a lot of inspiration from, I love Carrie Fisher, and I watched Wishful Drinking before we put this together, and I was just so impressed by her vulnerability, her humor, her timing. It was like a well orchestrated story of her life, and I wanted to find my version of that. And because people ask me like, oh, do you just like make fun of Michael Myers for an hour? I'm like, no, I mean, I would love to, but no, it's so much more than that. And I find that a lot of people who love horror, their parents got them into it, or maybe they had a rough go of it as a kid. They were bullied, and horror made them feel safe in a way. And so there are a lot of emotions underneath horror. Comedy is tragedy plus time. So there's a lot of emotion to it.
Right. And I can definitely understand. I lost my dad several years ago.
I'm sorry.
So I know that feeling.
Yeah.
And it is tough, but it's great that you can look back at it with happiness, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's kind of what we have to do. If we don't find the humor in things, then we're going to lose our minds. You have to.
Right.
Yeah.
And speaking of horror, what is your favorite horror movie?
I'm a Halloween kind of a girl. That's my dude. I love Michael Myers. I don't know what it is about that film in particular, but there's just something so magical about the entire atmosphere, like the leaves falling, the wind in the trees. It's Halloween. There's so much nostalgia in just that setting of that film. And also, I'm from Los Angeles, so I'm not far from Pasadena. I mean, I go by the Michael Myers house all the time just for fun because I can. I love that movie.
Right, that's great. And I also noticed that, during your special that you're quite a fan of Sarah Paulson.
I'm obsessed with Sarah Paulson. I mean, there are times that I'm like, am I straight? Because Sarah would be top of my list. Sarah Paulson and Kate Blanchett are both stunning. Um, I love American Horror Story. Like, I definitely was a huge fan of that from the season one. And she's just such a brilliant actor. I mean, she's a beautiful woman, obviously, but just the talent that that woman has is incredible. And I've loved every character that she's done on Horror Story. It's like, ooh, what is she going to do next? I actually really love it when directors, especially in horror, reuse a lot of the same actors. Like Rob Zombie does it as well. And it's fun to see the same actors in different roles. And Sarah just knocks them all out of the park.
So how do you feel about her and all the other major characters coming back for the new season of
I'm
American Horror
excited.
Story?
I'm excited. I think it's the first time that oh my goodness, Emma Roberts and Evan Peters have been in on screen together. I think since season one, was it? I'm trying to think.
Season two.
Season two,
No,
were
it
they?
was season one.
No,
No,
she
no,
was
season three. I'm sorry, it was Coven.
Coven. That's right, three. Which Coven was my favorite.
Oh,
I also just am obsessed with New Orleans. I spent my 40th, I mean my 21st birthday there. um, we did the show Halloween night because my birthday is October 23rd, so we just made like a whole week of it, and we did Horror Nerd at a cabaret club in New Orleans on Halloween, and it was so cool. It was really exciting.
that is awesome. That is a okay. So tell me, what kind of led you to wanting to be a comic?
Sorry, say again.
Can you tell me what led you to want to be a comic?
You know, I didn't grow up thinking, oh, I'm going to be a comedian. It never would have occurred to me in a million years. I was doing the acting thing. My grandfather was an actor. My great grandfather was an actor. My great grandmother was an actress. I'm like, I'm genetically obligated to be an actor. So I was doing that. And I felt like I was working really hard and not quite getting to where I wanted to be. Because a lot of it's just out of your control. You're too tall. You're too this. You're not right for the part. And that's fine. Um, but one day a friend of mine said, do you want to come to the Laugh Factory to see the women of Chelsea lately? And it was Natasha Leggero, Jen Kirkman, Sarah Colonna, just these really powerful women. And I was so enamored with how confident they were and how empowered they were. And I was talking to Natasha Leggero afterwards, and she's like, well, I used to do this show that is now a class. It's called Pretty Funny Women. Why don't you take the class? And I did, thinking I would do it once. And here I am like 15 years later.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And we really don't have enough comic period to do horror because that there is a huge amount of
Yeah.
horror nerds out there
Yeah.
like us.
Yeah. And that's what we were trying to explain, like, especially after we shot it and we were trying to find distribution. We're like, guys, there's a huge market for this. Um, but sometimes people are like, well, this hasn't been done before, so we don't know what to do with it. We love it, but we're not going to take it because it's never been done before. But hey, it's never been done before. That's the point, you know?
Really.
Um, but yeah, trying to explain that, like, hey, people are devoted to horror. People live by it. People know every detail. Um, and there's a huge community of women who love this stuff. I mean, look at us. Here we are. Why have we been ignored for so long? Like, we're a huge part of the community. We're weirder than the dudes sometimes. And I mean weird as a compliment in my book. Um, I've met the most incredible women doing these shows who come up with the best material. I mean, I have my friend Kelly McInerney just did my show with me, and she did it as Pamela Voorhees, and it was hilarious. Yeah, we had another comic performing as Jason, and so we planted Kelly in the audience, like, "You're doing great, baby," just like, heckling her son, and that was the bit. It was great. It was great, and she was more than happy to dress up as Betsy Palmer and put, like, sever her head and makeup and all that stuff. It was fantastic.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. So but when it comes to horror movies, and you said that you're a big Halloween fan.
Yeah.
What's an underrated horror film you wish people knew more about?
Ooh, that's a good question. Like, newer or older? Because those
So,
are,
whichever.
a newer one that I really, well, you know what is the most underrated, and it terrified me as a kid, and I don't know if anyone saw it, but Poltergeist 3 is a banger. Exorcist 3 is a banger. Like, those are two
That one.
really creepy, scary movies. And I don't think a lot of, like, mainstream horror fans have seen them. It's only like, the deep cut people like us that have seen them. Um, even I myself, just for the first time, saw I Spit on Your Grave for the first time not long ago. And I was like, wow, this actress did a phenomenal job. And it's a heavy, hard movie to watch, but holy hell, did they do it well, you know?
Right, right.
Um,
And it's good movies. Especially
yeah,
The Exorcist 3. That movie is
so dark. I mean, because
it,
Freakin directed that, or no, Blatty directed that one,
it
which
was
is so good. It's so dark. And if you think about it, I have a bit about it actually. It's Brad Dourif plays the killer and George C. Scott plays the detective. So it's like Chucky getting yelled at by Patton for a couple hours. It's fabulous. I mean, what more do you need? But a newer one, and I think it has gotten some attention, at least within the community, but I loved Late Night with the Devil. I thought that was fantastic.
that was a really good movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
I
had
mean,
a
everybody
whole
loves, sorry, go ahead.
as I say, it has a whole different level of creepy to it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why. I'm actually not a very religious person and I'm not Catholic, but Catholic horror films are just so fascinating. The idea of demonic possession. Also, actually, a severely underrated movie that not a lot of people know about is Deliver Us from Evil with
That
Eric
was good.
Bana. God, that was good. Those actors knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, it was a great film.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And The Gift with Kate Blanchett is
Oh
another
yeah,
favorite of mine.
that's
Yeah,
good. Yeah,
yeah. And actually, we've had the honor of having Christopher Young, who's the composer on The Gift and Delivers from Evil and Hellraiser, on our podcast. It's called Horror Nerds, plural, because there's a group of us. But Christopher is one of the nicest, sweetest people on the planet and just doesn't act like he's a horror icon at all. It's just totally normal.
just another guy. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's.
just another guy.
So you're amazed at how many directors and actors and actresses I've talked to, and they're just good normal people.
Yeah, they're just sweet as pie. And one of my favorite people on the planet, because he's one of the funniest guys on the planet, is Kane Hodder. I love Kane Hodder so much. He's so funny.
Yeah, I can honestly say he picked me up by the throat at
Oh yeah,
an
I believe
event. So yeah, I've had the experience.
and you thanked him after. That's the
Yes, I
great thing.
did.
Thank you, Jason. Put me down now.
Yeah, and he's strong too.
Yeah,
It's wild.
yeah.
So when you were talking in, the special about, different movies and series and things, and you tie them so well together. It's all like very fluid.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate it because it wasn't just like, well, I'm gonna talk about this and I'm gonna jump to this. It's not like that. It's
Yeah.
like a conversation,
Oh,
and
that's a high
that's always a great
compliment.
thing.
Yeah, thank you so much for noticing that and saying that because we worked really hard on that. I think we had like 11 drafts of the material before we shot it. And I think it was part of, well, this is my life story, so there is like a chronological order to it. And I think that also helped my brain remember, like, okay, this was a huge marker. Like, it was a huge marker when I was 8. And then when I was 9, creature features. And then when I was 10, my mom let me watch The Exorcist. So it just kind of all, and then 13 was my first horror film in a theater, which was Scream. And so it kind of organically flowed that way. But that's the thing. You don't want to just be like, here's a joke, and then here's a joke. That's not my style as a comedian. I wanted to create a story. And stories in comedy, I think, are the hardest to do. So I had really had my work cut out for me. The best comics make storytelling look easy, but it is, you really have to craft every beat of it. And Tom Dolby, who's the director, who's amazing and really whipped me together for this. We had a lot of conversations about, okay, how are we going to appeal to the real like dedicated horror fans like me and people who are like, oh, this looks fun, this is kind of spooky, I like scary movies, sure, I'll watch it, and have them enjoy it as well. And ideally maybe walk away from watching the special like, oh, hey, she talked about some movies that I've never seen, I should go see them now, they sound good. She loves them obviously.
Right. I'd say my favorite bit of it was Seventh Heaven.
Yeah.
That
True story.
that would crack me up.
Yeah. Yeah, that was I you know how like certain events in your life you're just everything is burned into your brain forever. I remember the desk I was sitting at. I remember the stack of 8 by 10s that were coming in. So I was interning as a casting intern on the show Seventh Heaven, and it really happened. We put out the role for a Catholic priest, and I'm going through the headshots, and sure, the Robert Englund's headshot was legit in there, and I flipped out. I was so excited. I was kind of the new kid at the time, so I didn't have any power or any say. I was an intern, but I begged Vicky Huff. I begged her. I said, "Please, can we bring him in?" She was just dead set against it. And in my mind, I'm like, "What? Catholic priest? He's already played a child molester. This is great. Come on, typecasting. Let's do it." That's a joke that like it makes people uncomfortable, but they laugh every time. So, go for it.
He would have been perfect, but
I know. And he's such a good actor that I think that would have brought in a whole new audience of people. Like, oh, wow, I'm getting to see Robert Englund legit like play a different role, a different character, a good guy on this show. It was a very wholesome show. I mean, I'm sure that maybe Robert Englund has run into that where he is Freddy Krueger, so it might be hard for him to get roles outside of horror, even though he's a brilliant actor and could totally do it. That's always interesting how that works, where, if you're so legendary in a certain role, you're never going to get away from that.
but
Um,
honestly, who would want to be? I mean, he's Freddy.
yeah,
He's like he is Freddy.
he is Freddie. I just on Halloween morning went to the Hollywood Walk of Fame to see him get his star, and it was pretty cool. I mean, the turnout was huge. It was huge. I went to the John Carpenter one as well, and I had an amazing time. Had a good spot. But the Freddie one was just chaos. There was just people everywhere and chanting and yelling, and it was really cool. And the funny thing was, the ironic part was that it happened in front of a store that was right in front of a school. So all these little kids in their little outfits were coming out when we're honoring Freddy Krueger, basically. And all the kids were like, "What are you here for?" Oh no, one kid was actually yelling at us, "What are you waiting for?" And we're like, "Well, okay, Jennifer Love Hewitt, calm down. But we're actually waiting for Freddy Krueger." And this little boy was like, "Oh," and just walked away. It was really funny.
This little kid, I would have been the one out there singing the song.
Right? I know, like with the jump rope and everything.
Yeah, yeah, that was me as a kid.
That was us. That was all of our community as kids. We were those kids.
And it's great. And actually, there's word out that he is trying to do another Freddy Krueger movie.
As he should. We will all be there, front and center.
Right.
Yeah, we would
Yeah.
love that. We would love that.
And I love horror movies in general, but Freddy has always had like a little special place in my heart for some reason. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, because he's just such a personality. He's such a character. He's,
Yes.
it's like, all right, you might kill me, but I'm gonna die laughing.
Yeah,
I
he's
don't
just
know.
he's spunky.
Yeah, spunky. That's the way to. And that's also the fun part about doing the live show is that sometimes I recruit comics who aren't actually into horror. And my friend Jeremy, who's amazing and does the show almost every month, not a horror fan. He's a Christmas guy. I know I should block him for life, but he has started watching all these films that he would have never seen if it weren't for me saying, "Hey, we're writing about Freddy today. Go on." So it was actually really fun for me. He like binged, all of them in a row over the course of just a couple days. And all the text messages I was getting, Zsa Zsa Gabor? Wait, Freddie's mom is a nun? Wait, what is happening? Oh my God, Roseanne Barr's in this? Just, it was really fun seeing someone watch or like, getting reports from someone watching this for the first time. It tickled me.
Right. I'm gonna say I have a nephew and he has gotten into horror, and I'm like, have you seen this? Have you seen that? You gotta watch this. You gotta watch this before you watch this. It's why it's great, seeing them live it for the first time, but almost us being able to relive our first with them.
Yeah, very much that. To see the excitement on a new wave of, the next generation of horror fans is super fun. And to see what they like and to see, because growing up for us, like our practical effects were very, very different than some of the CGI that they're getting, some of the different approaches. And it's it's almost kind of funny and sad at the same time when you see like a kid watch something from the 80s. They're like, that was stupid. That was so cheesy. I'm like, what do you mean? That was iconic. But it's just different generations. Because I look at, like, even talking about it, for example, the way that the clown looked and the way that the clown was portrayed was very, very different. And I think Skarsgård is brilliant, but I found the Tim Curry portrayal a lot more scary because that creepy human element with the voice and that he looked like a guy in a suit, and that made it way creepier for me,
Right.
way more scary for me, for
And
sure.
more realistic
Yes,
because
exactly.
you've got Pennywise, dancing in flames and doing all kind of crazy stuff in the new movies, but the original
Yeah,
that felt real.
it felt real. Exactly, it felt real. And I don't know if perhaps Pennywise in the newer one is more accurate to the book, but in the book your imagination was doing all that. It wasn't CGI effects doing that. So it just, I don't know, I'll never not be a Tim Curry loyalist for the rest of my life. So there's that.
It's hard to beat. You can't. I mean, he is Pennywise. He is Dr. Frankenfooter. I
Yeah.
mean, the
Oh,
man is
yeah.
the man.
Yeah, I did Rocky as a teenager. I played Janet. I did all of it. But you know what one of my all-time favorite movies as a kid was, and I still love it. I still watch it. Did you ever see Congo with Tim Curry? The killer gorillas? Like they're looking for King Solomon's mines.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Yeah, I love
I
Tim
forgot
Curry
about
in
that
that as
movie.
well. Yeah, he plays like the greedy. I don't remember if he's Russian but he has this thick accent, and all he wants is the diamonds, and it's so funny. And then he may get his face ripped apart by an ancient killer gorilla, but you know what? It was fun.
But when you mess with gorillas, you're liable to get your face ripped off. That's just the thing.
When Yeah, when they're those kind of evil gorillas from a Michael Crichton book, absolutely. But the other thing, and I won't go off topic, but the other thing I more love more than anything is animals. And I did get to go gorilla trekking, in Africa, and it was
Wow.
literally the best thing I've ever done in my life. They're beautiful, they're magical, they're peaceful. It was a really incredible experience.
I'm a huge animal lover. In
Yeah.
fact, I'm surprised that you haven't heard my dogs bark by now.
I'm surprised my cats haven't come across the computer yet. They love to be on camera.
Mine do it too, and I literally have one sleeping about this far from the edge of my computer.
Yeah, well, give it time. Give it time.
Yeah, but I know what you mean, and there are a lot of horror fans that are animal lovers.
Yeah, because we're sensitive, believe it or not. I know we're covered in tattoos and black t-shirts, but we're the most sensitive, empathetic people. Like some of the people I've met in horror, they will give you the Halloween t-shirt right off their back. Like, what do you need? I got you. It's such a supportive, embracing community, and everyone's welcome. And yeah, I don't know. I just find like a lot of us have gone through some stuff, so we have a pretty strong empathy for animals, for other people. And yeah, we all have our familiars, our cats, our dogs, whatever else, our lizards, our tortoises. I grew up with a zoo. I always had reptiles and cool stuff.
Me too.
So, yeah, yeah.
So now it's cats, dogs, fish. I do have some frogs that live in my koi pond, but
Oh, that's lovely. I love frogs.
yeah, they're great. They help eat algae, so it's good for all the fish. But
It's a
it
win-win.
works.
Yeah, it's the ecosystem.
Right, right. And if you will, what is your opinion of the way that female filmmakers are doing these days in horror?
I think they're kicking ass. I think we're doing pretty well. I mean, yes, we have, Diablo Cody, but we have women like Axel Carolyn, who's this huge director and is doing. You look at her IMDb, you're like, oh my gosh, Carrie, American Horror Story, all this. And I actually met her at the Haunted Hayride because I was out with there was a group of us, and one of the funniest comics and biggest horror nerds you'll ever meet is Dana Gould, who is delightful. He created Stand Against Evil, and he's a legit horror fan. Like he literally took care of Mila Nurmi like towards the end of her life. Like he's legit, and he's a good friend and is on the show quite a bit. And we ran into her, and I was just in awe of just like, you're so cool. And she was just so like, yeah, hi, what's up? Just so nice. There's a lot. It's I don't know if maybe when we were kids, horror wasn't as mainstream or as accepted, but it was definitely accepted for boys to be into it before it was for girls. Because, oh, aren't you supposed to be? I mean, it's still, the stereotypes, the gender norms, it's ridiculous. I don't want to be cooking in the kitchen. I want to be watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'll let him do the cooking? Um, but I think it's more acceptable now, and I'm really excited for the future. The future of horror is female, but I mean, there's a lot of amazing dudes as well, so I don't want to count them out.
Yeah, yeah. And earlier you mentioned being into true crime.
Yeah.
What is your opinion on the new Monster series?
Well, if there's anything that we know from a Ryan Murphy production is that the killer will be hot and naked in the first episode. But I wanted to watch. I mean, I'm fascinated by Ed Gein. Um, I've watched documentaries and I've read about it, and it's just fascinating the psychology of. Okay, well, he obviously had some mental setbacks. I mean, schizophrenia, but like you read about the mom, and you're like, oh my God, if you're isolated on a farm with that kind of a woman beating this into your brain, you have no chance of being a well-rounded human being. My goodness. But when I saw that Laurie Metcalf was playing the mom, I lost my mind because she's one of my all-time favorite actors. I've seen her in many like Broadway plays and live theater, and she's incredible. She's stunning. And so I was real excited for that. And that monologue, and was it episode one? I think where she was just going off. I was like, ooh, I'm terrified. She was so good. I, I there's the part of my brain watching the monster series of like, yeah, that didn't happen, that didn't happen, that didn't happen, that didn't happen. But then there was also the, okay, well, I understand you're making a story out of it. Um, and also, but there's that weird fine moral line of like, we're not supposed to feel bad for this guy, are we? Like, he still killed these people, we're not supposed to glorify him, are we? But I thought that the writers, I thought they did a good job of um kind of showing like the fantasy world in his head. Imagine if that is the way that your brain operates. And what if you can't control your urges? What if you can't? I mean, that's really terrifying. So
Yeah.
I would say it was actually easier to watch than Dahmer. That series, I had to take breaks. That series, I was like, oh my God, this is so heavy. The actors are doing an amazing job, but these were real people, and oh my God. And that whole story is just so tragic. The way that like the police were homophobic and they were kids. Oh my God, it's just such, it's so, it was really hard to watch. And I think the choice in Dahmer of not having a lot, there wasn't a score in there wasn't a lot of music in that.
I don't remember
That
there
made
being.
it, what's that?
I don't remember there being much.
Yeah, and that made it feel like you were watching real life, and that made it so hard to watch. Um, I forced myself to continue to watch it. I had to get to like, I think it was episode 4 because my friend Teddy Margus, who is a brilliant actor who's on Hacks now, he played the bathhouse owner who was like, "Get the hell out of my bathhouse." That's my friend Teddy. So I had to get to that point, and then I'm like, well, I've come this far. I'm gonna watch the rest of it. But I don't know. It was interesting. It was well done. I What I really did love though was the connection of, okay, here's this thing that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre took from the Ed Gein story. Here's, the Anthony Perkins plot line was really interesting. I did quite like all that.
Right. I thought that was a great touch too, is to,
Yeah.
those other bits pieces of another world, basically.
Right,
It's something
right.
completely different. But,
Yeah. Yeah, we had
you
Toby
know,
Hooper as a character in this series. That's pretty cool. Anthony Perkins, that's pretty cool.
yeah, yeah, it's great. All right. So tell everybody where they can watch the special, where they can find your podcast, where they can find everything.
Yes. So the special, basically, if you go online and just type in Samantha Hale horror nerd, no W, thank you, just horror nerd, it'll all pop up. So the hour special is currently streaming on Apple TV, Amazon, Google Play, YouTube. You can also rent it on iTunes if you just want to kind of check it out for a few bucks. I am online on Instagram, is where I post most of my stuff, at the Samantha Hale, and also at Horror Nerd Comedy. And the podcast, if you guys love podcasts, it's wherever you get your podcast pleasure, wherever you like to stream them, Spotify, Apple. Again, you can just Google, it's plural because it's like a group of us nerdy kids talking about why we love this stuff. Horror Nerds Podcast.
Right, that is awesome. And we'll include a link to all of that
Fabulous. Thank
in
you.
everything too. So it'll be
Yeah.
there. But I really appreciate you taking time to talk with me. I enjoyed it. I loved your special,
Thank you.
and you're just awesome.
You're
So.
awesome. We are awesome. We're in the group of horror awesome.